everybody, welcome to Football Uncensored. We are back with another live show on a regular. It's going to be a regular on Mondays, of course. The last one we had, I believe, was on a Friday. But we got to get used to this Monday thing because obviously the Premier League is going to be back pretty soon. And we got the best fans lined up for you here. World of Football representing Liverpool. We got City Bevo TV representing Man City, of course. The Mighty Win representing nobody. He's just by himself here. And I'm representing Newcastle United. But anyways, Kevin was going to come on, obviously, to talk about a few things of Manchester United. And this was definitely the show for him because we have a lot of things like that for Man U. And I wanted to get his take, but now we're going to get their rivals' take on what they're pretending to do here. And welcome, everyone, of course. Hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. That way you stay tuned on what's going on, what we're doing here on the channel. Great stuff, of course. Thank you, Bevo. Thank you, Henry. Mighty Win. Welcome, fellas. How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah, really good. Thanks, mate. How are you doing?
I'm good, doing
great. Well, look, let's start talking about what's going on in the Premier League, of course. A few friendly matches. Bevo, man, what's going on? You lost against Celtic, brother. Oh, hey. I cannot believe you let me down, man.
Hey, we can lose to Celtic. We can lose to AC Milan, but the difference is it's pre-season, and if you look at the team that we put out, it was, I think, apart from Ederson, Hojlund and Grealish, I think the rest were sort of second choice players and academy players. So
let me ask you this, because obviously it's Man City at the moment. Is there anything that will bother any Man City fans? Are you guys still just living in the clouds? I mean,
no. Well, if you look at it, the year that we won the treble, we lost our first preseason game. Preseason games aren't, to necessarily just go out and win. It's about fitness. It's about getting minutes to other players. We're certainly not bothered by it. If you look at the Community Shield as well that year, we lost that. Lost that to Liverpool at Leicester's ground, I think it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, pre-season is just about getting minutes. Pep's already come out and said in his press conference that we are going to start slow this year because there's going to be a lot of first team players which he's given an extended period of rest to, especially with Foden and Rodri and sort of various other players that got further in like the Euros and the Copa America. So, City typically always start slow anyway, so that's not really a problem. But yeah, I think pre-season, I'm not too worried about it. We've got a couple more players joining pre-season this week. We introduced Guardiola for like the last 15-20 minutes the other night against AC Milan. Did okay. But yeah, it's just about giving minutes to the academy players and seeing what they're about.
Yeah, lovely. Anybody else? Mighty, what do you got to say about Man City, man? I know you're a Man City fan.
I think Man City are in a very, very happy place right now.
Yeah, no matter what they do.
I don't think there's a lot could go on to upset them, to be fair.
Yeah, that's right, man. What do you think, Henry?
I do think Man City have been very poor in the pre-season games, but I think if you genuinely look at it, when Liverpool won the league in 2019-2020 season, we didn't win a single pre-season game. So pre-season means nothing. It's all about minutes, and especially with the Euros, so many players have come back really late. So most of the top 6 teams won't have their best players till later in the pre-season.
Yeah.
And Copa America, of course.
And Copa America.
Copa America, Euros, yeah.
I'm assuming some of your players are still on vacation, maybe, or they're coming back, Bevo?
Yeah, most of our players are still on vacation. If you look at the lineups that we've put out, when we played Celtic, for example, they're only 10 days away from starting their season. So they pretty much started their first team lineup because obviously they're trying to sort of get back into some kind of form. And then when we played AC Milan, you know, they pretty much had a decent squad out as well. So, you know, our whole back line was just academy players. You know, our whole midfield was just academy players. So, you know, I'm not bothered by it at all. You know,
Ronald saying Man City don't start until the last month of the season. that's crazy. Beer Bag in the defense was definitely on vacation. But a question by David T: would City Bevel be upset at losing a friendly, bearing in mind you play Man U in the Community Shield? Well, I mean, you're supposed to prepare for that. That's coming up soon. So, how do you feel about
to
that?
be honest,
And lost the FA Cup final, by the way. Sorry to remind you.
Well, I think, to be honest, I'm not typically. We never do very well in the Community Shield. It's not really something that I think as a club we focus too much on. You know, the year we won the treble. The year that we won the treble. That year we played Liverpool, lost to them. Then the year after we played Arsenal, lost to them. So Community Shields typically we don't do very well in, but that's not where it matters to us. You know, for us it's about the Premier League, it's about the Champions League, and also if we can squeeze in another sort of domestic trophy as well, then great.
Yeah. Ian said no shame in getting beat by the great team like Celtic City. He's a City fan, a Celtic fan. Meanwhile, we're on this City ramp just to get it over with. Fabrizio Romano reporting that Man City are closing in on a deal to sign Christian and McFarland from your sister club, New York City FC. Agreement done. You know, how do you see these deals with sister clubs that you guys are doing? Obviously, you got Girona now in Spain, doing well, fighting for the title, which is unheard of in their history. But this kid coming up from Christian McFarland, coming from New York, do you rate him, or you know, what are your thoughts? What else does City have to do? I mean, you guys got stars already.
Well, I think typically, like when we make signings, I was saying on your previous show that you did, you know, like we bought like Douglas Luiz and pretty much loaned him out straight away, and then ended up selling him to Villa. We buy a lot of players, but then sort of spread them out. You know, if you look at like Jan Couto, you know, he was at Girona. You know, we've got loads of players that are on our books, which seemingly just sort of you forget about. I don't know too much about McFarlane. I can't say I've seen too much of him, to be honest. There's another young lad which is over in the US. I forget what his name is. He's 40. I think he's about 14, and he's supposed to be like the next best thing. Someone in the chat might remind me of his name. I can't remember what he's called. He plays over in the US. He's about 14. But we've got some kind of agreement with him that when he turns, I think he's 18, he can sign for City. So yeah, typically we do a lot of deals with sort of young players, in particular, sort of South American players. You know, we like to do deals with Argentinian players, obviously Julian Alvarez, but then also we've got this Echeverri, which is supposed to be coming in soon. So yeah, typically we do look for sort of younger talents, as well as if you look at City signings sort of in particular over the last sort of 5 years, we've never really signed like a mega star, you know, with the exception of obviously Haaland. But you look at Ruben Diaz and players like this. Well, arguably Grealish, but you know,
well,
you look at
100 million. You don't pay 100 million for a. Well, like,
yeah,
you know,
well,
it was just about a record at the time. If it wasn't a British record at the time, I think it might have been.
Yeah, but we didn't sort of. I don't think we justified the spend on Grealish because of sort of playing abilities. It's also the brand that he brings with him. You know, he's a really popular player. You know, sort of he's got a brand for himself. So you sort of, when you buy a player, you kind of buy that side of it as well. now he's the face of Gucci. He does. He's got a mega deal with Puma. So, but typically, going back to the conversation, typically we don't really buy like these sort of superstars, with the exception of obviously Haaland and maybe Grealish. You look at the likes of Ruben Diaz, Bernardo Silva, even Kevin De Bruyne when we signed him. These weren't mega stars at the time. They've just kind of grown into the players that they are now, I guess.
Yeah. Henry, moving.
That's it, Caden Sullivan. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Henry, moving to your side of to your neck of the woods, man. Well, first of all, talking about Liverpool, Ray Kennedy passed away. So to all the Liverpool fans, shout out to him, a true legend for Liverpool Football Club. But
Geordie.
Was it Geordie? Was he a Geordie for real?
Yeah.
Oh man, nice. Well, died at 70 years of age, so rest in peace, Ray Kennedy. But there's a new development.
He ran a pub just up the court.
There you go. That's how you know, man. See, this old
15
man
away
always,
from me.
this old man's all about beer, man. It's all about the drinks. But a lot of outlets, Henry, talking about Liverpool's interest in Anthony Gordon remaining strong. Obviously, top footballer, played in England, went to the Euros. He plays at Newcastle United, of course. He plays for our club. But I want to hear from your perspective. Do you rate him? What do you think? Do you think this is even real? Can you really get? I mean, I'm not 100% sure what we're asking or what we would ask for, or if there is even a buyout clause. But what do you think?
The first thing is Anthony Gordon. I do like him. I think he's a really good footballer. He did annoy me a lot when he played at Everton because he would constantly wind Liverpool players up. And, sometimes you need a player like that who literally gets under your skin. Like Bruno Fernandes is the king of doing that. He just loves winding people up. But I think it is really genuine. I think from what I've seen, I think Anthony Gordon would like to do the move. But the thing is, he's a left winger. Liverpool already have 2 left wingers. Liverpool don't need a third left winger. I think the only way this works is if he forces the move and Liverpool sell another a winger. Because there's no, I can't see Liverpool signing Anthony Gordon for 60 million or something like that when there are 2 other left wingers at the club. Because the other 2, for me, they're going to be competing for that first choice left wing position. So when you've got 3 left wingers who could be left wingers for lots of clubs in the Premier League, you're going to be going. You can't have 3 amazing left wingers. It's just not going to work. So I don't think it will happen because I think Newcastle won 100 million, and I think it makes sense if he stays in Newcastle. And I can't see Liverpool selling Luis Diaz because Barcelona are going to. It was originally going to be Barcelona, but I think with Barcelona trying everything to get Nico Williams, I think they'll get Nico Williams and they'll have
the only way that you'd probably sign Anthony Gordon is if you got rid of Gakpo, probably.
Yeah, but for me, I think with Arne Slot being Dutch and stuff, and the way he's performed in the Euros, being one of the best players of the Euros, I think he will. Because it's funny enough, under Klopp, Gakpo played anywhere but a left wing. Midfield, cam, striker, right wing, but not left. And for me, I'd rather sell Luis Diaz. But with the fact that Barcelona probably will get Nico Williams, I can't see Diaz leaving. And that's, for me, personally, that's not the type of player I want to go for because I think the concentration should be on CDM and centre back, not a left winger. And if we're going to get a winger, it should be a right winger because Mo's getting old now. Mo's never had a competition on that wing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oh man,
everybody wants a right winger, don't they?
Yeah, we need one too.
Everybody wants a right winger.
Everyone wants one.
Yeah, man.
And I think obviously, we all have our biases, but I think I would certainly take Gordon in the form he showed last season, and that's the big qualification. As long as he can keep that form going, I think he was easily the best left winger in the country.
Well, Luis Diaz,
talking to two lads here, which are obviously Geordies, if you were to sell Gordon, how much would you want for him? What do you think
would
go
for
be
less than 100
reasonable price?
Yeah, he wouldn't go for less than 100.
Definitely not.
Man, yeah, that's probably it because of you can see the projection now. Look, if he this season coming up, if he doesn't do well, then certainly you're gonna have to take that in consideration. But I mean, what he shown last season, certainly one of the best, I would say, young talents that just came out of nowhere, I guess you can say. But Luis Diaz, you can I don't have any bias at all. I know Luis Diaz, and I watched him on the Copa America. Man, he was unbelievable, keeping the Colombian team alive.
But it's I think that would be the left winger that'd be sold out of Kim and Gakpo. But I don't think they're leaving because I think he had one bad season last season. I think.
Did anybody here, but specifically Bevo and obviously you, Henry, Mighty Win thinks that Newcastle are going to be competing for the Premier League. I think I'm happy with top four for now until we start building our reputation. But asking you, Henry, and everybody else, did anybody really fear Liverpool? Because I would say last season, Liverpool is going to be the team that can beat Man City over Arsenal, who was second the previous season, because I felt like they had more character and obviously quality of players, even though you guys complain about not having a DM and all that stuff. But then you see how the season went, and Arsenal kept progressing and making, getting points. So who is that team that can actually beat, even in Man City, wasn't, even though they were champions, that they deserved it, it wasn't the strongest City I've seen as of late. And I think the miles add up.
What I would say is, if it wasn't for Liverpool in that 1920 season, we'd be talking about City doing 7 in a row.
Yeah.
And that
I think
Liverpool would be going Man City to the Bayern of the Premier League.
When you actually look at that and say, if it wasn't for that 19 season, City would have done 7 in a row. Like in the Premier League, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
So you have to give credit to Liverpool for what they did. They pushed us for a good 2-3 seasons. Potentially more, but definitely 3 seasons that I can think of.
And that was with Mo at his very, very best.
Yeah. What I would say is Liverpool is definitely a club. Yeah.
And
what I would say is Liverpool are a bit of a club that are aging. You look at the likes of Andy Robertson.
That's what I feel. I think they're not going to be the force they were last season. Especially without Klopp.
They need to buy.
It remains to be seen. But I'm saying all that without saying who they're going to bring in the summer.
Yeah.
Out of the top 3, if you like, Liverpool are the team for me that need to spend the most.
I think
and
this
really
improve the incredibly weird. You look at the likes of Arsenal, you look at the likes of Liverpool, City. With the exception of United, nobody's really spending any money. No. Arsenal's brought in, a left back, but they need a striker. Newcastle, I don't know if you brought anyone in. I don't think so.
Very few.
We have a very disgruntled fan base right now because everybody. What are we doing? I said,
are you guys glad? Are you guys glad that Amanda Staveley's gone, or do you think?
Well, the Mighty Wayne is sick. He cries every night.
Amanda, she was brilliant. She gave us our club back. That's all I can say about Amanda, right?
Yeah, but that's that.
Job done. And as I've said before, it's nothing I've read anywhere. It's just a good feeling. I think what's happened with regard to Amanda is that the PIF headquarters were unaware that we were the wrong side of FFP. Bruno had his the Bruno buyout clause expired on the 24th of June. And that was a deliberately inserted date. And I think Amanda was pretty sure that Man City were going to come in and pay that 100 million.
I was hoping that we would. That if there's one player,
well, you can tell you what, you could have done a lot worse. But the problem was when that didn't happen, all of a sudden we're then in a big hole, and we ended up having to sell Anderson and Minty, who Eddie didn't want to sell.
But I was always under the impression that with the Bruno deal, I thought that as soon the way that I understood it was I thought that City would have waited until after that release clause date had ended and then put a bid in for the same amount. Because if you're doing it through like a release clause, you have to pay like a certain amount, if not all of it up front. But whereas if you do it sort of over like contract, you can spread the payments, which is why I thought City might do it afterwards, but they've just not gone in for it. And to be honest, if there's one, you ask any City fan at the moment, the one player that they would take is Bruno Guimaraes, without a shadow of a doubt.
You know, but I've actually heard some City fans not too happy about, or about Bruno.
I can't say I've heard that. Every City fan that I've spoken to have all said that if they were to buy any player at the moment, who would it be? And they all say Bruno, because we need that Rodri cover. You know, we can't have Rodri playing 70 games a season every season. We can't do it. Yeah. You know, he's our most important asset by far, more important than Hojlund and Alvarez. You know, he is by far our most important asset, and we need to protect him. You know, now, it's worth spending that extra 50 million or whatever it is to have call it Rodri Protection Fund if you want.
Yeah. But let me get to Henry. Henry, do you think what does Liverpool need to say we are literally competing against Man City and either one of us can win it? Do you feel that they're there now, or do you think you need more?
No, we're not there yet. You know, I think last season, one of the biggest things last season, a lot of people say other parts of the team were the reason Liverpool, you know, as they claim, bottled it. For me, it's the fact that most of the games, Liverpool had a ridiculous amount of chances. Man United, ridiculous amount of chances. Even when we played you, Bevo, we should have won that game like 3 or 4-1. And I don't know how Diaz missed like 4 goals.
Was that the game at Anfield?
Yeah, we just kept missing 1v1, missing every game. There was at least 6 sitters missed by either there was Núñez, Diaz. It was like the whole attack just went to sleep. Yeah. And for me, the main reason I think Liverpool bottled the position we were in was because the attack was just dead food. Not the midfield, not the defence, the attack, because there was a lot of draws or losses. Like even the Palace game easily could have won that by missed chances. Everton could have equalised or won that game based on chances. Like every game most of the games we lost or drew in the pit or we all went down was because we didn't finish our chances. Yeah. And for me, the issue is when Salah was in bad form, there was no replacement for Salah. So no matter how bad he's playing, he always plays. Núñez, the same thing. If Núñez, because there's only one striker, I think there needs to be competition there. And the left wing, it was Diaz, but, you know, Gakpo showed in the World Cup and in the Euros that when you play him at left wing, he cooks. And he's not played at left wing on the Liverpool. He's played a cam. He played in the 8. He's played a striker, but he's not played on the left yet. Because when he's played Núñez, Gakpo and Salah, he's put Gakpo down the middle and Núñez on the left. Not Gakpo on the left, Núñez in the middle. So for me, for Liverpool to be stronger, for me has to be a CDM, and I'm talking Bruno or Rodri level, because Liverpool need that to be able to be solid defensively. Another centre back because Matip left, and we all know how Kanate is injury prone. And I'd probably go for a right winger. And the problem is there's not many right wingers available out there.
Yeah, everybody wants a right wing.
But there's one I really do like. It kind of makes sense because the whole Dutch thing and honest lot will probably be Bakayoko from PSV, who'll be another good one. And there were a few out there, but for me, Liverpool probably need four players, four players to compete for the title. I don't think we'll compete for the title this year. I think we'll finish probably say very lucky third, fourth, fifth, around that area. Because for me, with Endo at CDM, no replacement for Matip, and the attack, if the attack's same as last season, we're not going to do well, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll have to see what. I always thought. Pardon me, somebody wanted to say something.
Yeah, I thought. Apologies for that. I just had my neighbour banging on the door.
You're good, man.
I was just going to go back to the Geordie Tune for Life where he says Bruno is not a 6, like other fans think. What I'd say on that is, you're right, he's not. He is more of an 8. But that's why he would be perfect for us, because when you look at City, 90% of the time that City are playing, we're not playing defensively. We're playing on the attack because we keep the ball in. And, most of the game is sort of up in the other half. So when we're in the attack, Rodri doesn't stay as a 6. He pushes to an 8. So when you look at a lot of the goals that we've conceded, they've been from counter-attacks where a ball's just been played straight over the top of midfield, because there's no one sitting in that 6 position to make that, there's a massive gap between midfield and defence because Rodri's pushed up. Now, by bringing in Bruno, that means that Rodri would then be able to stay back, or vice versa. Bruno could stay back. But when you're playing with Rodri and Kovacic at the moment, both of them like to go forward and play as sort of 2 8s, which leaves us exposed behind. So where you're saying he's not a 6, he's an 8, that's the reason why we would want him.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I think Liverpool is the one to challenge. I mean, you got to put Arsenal there now because, I mean, back to back, even though they bottled the first
top 2 for me. That's the top 2.
Yeah, that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it. It's gonna be definitely a battle at the top again. Now, I really had an intriguing question, but I want to move on because we gotta talk about, again. I'll try to get a Man U fan. He's busy doing stuff with his bride. So Kevin, shout out to you. But Man United making plans to replace Old Trafford with a brand new $2 billion with a B a pound project. I mean, obviously, this is going to be a rival's perspective, but I'm a very traditionalist with this stuff. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Meaning, old stadiums do have a value, in my opinion, because they're historic to a certain extent. They obviously do have.
If you're talking about broken stadiums, you could talk about Old Trafford.
Yeah, well, they do need that. Yeah, they got that.
Demolish it. It is a cesspit, that stadium. May as well just demolish it.
They got the water thing going on, but
but of course, running down the stairs, it's.
There's worse than that. Apparently, the toilets are flooded.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
Damn, is that right?
But but you're saying a £2 billion stadium, but how much of that are the government going to pay? Because I had Keir Starmer and Andy Burnham.
How much are we going to pay for it as taxpayers?
Exactly.
I'm not funding Man United. No chance.
No chance. There'll be hell on if that happens, I tell you.
But that has got to be, and there's got to be no way possible for that to happen. How can the government get involved in a stadium?
Well,
they're going to call it a regional stadium.
The reason that they're putting the pitch forward to basically call it the Wembley of the North, and the whole purpose of it is to help attract more tourism to the area and stuff like that. So that's the reason why they're wanting sort of the government to sort of fund it, because they're trying to say, it would bring more exposure to the city.
Why should London get all the money, basically?
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, if there's one team that needs a new stadium, it is them by far.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
we could do with a one.
Yeah, that's true. But they're trying to build 100,000 seat stadium. I mean, that's interesting to see, man. But I mean, when you get,
we can talk about empty seats.
I was going to say, do you seriously think that Man United could fill 100,000 seater stadium the way they don't quite fill a 75,000? I mean, some games, obviously, yes.
So Man United doesn't fill the stadium up every week.
Well, I'd imagine at the moment they probably do, but if you're going up to 100,000,
well, they do for Premier League games.
I'd probably say that 100,000 they wouldn't.
No,
that's
I don't
a lot of
people
either. Wembley, how big is Wembley?
Wembley's 90,
just
95,
under 100. Yeah,
94, something like that.
Yeah. Does it get filled up when England plays there?
I think so, yeah.
Depends who they're playing and what the competition is.
I'm assuming the FA Cup final will get filled up. I mean, that's
that's.
But I mean, yeah, 100K is a lot of seats. But this government thing that doesn't hold water, man. I mean, but when you get help from the government with everything else in life, I'm talking about not just football, you get what the government can't afford. You don't get to say I need 100,000 seats. Obviously, Man United would be involved in pitching in the majority of the money, I would assume.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting topic, man. I don't know, but Ratcliffe is coming on with full force, man, trying to revamp and restructure Big Man U. Bevel, you're laughing, you're smiling there, man.
They've got a long way to catch up with us, and by the time they've caught up, we'll be ahead again.
It's
there's a reason.
It's the old money versus the USA.
I tell you, there's a reason why they're buying all of our old staff. We've replaced them with new ones. They can have our sloppy seconds. It's fine.
Yeah.
That tends to be the crack from us about Ashworth, but of course it's just it's sour grapes, isn't it? When your girlfriend ditches you from being the most beautiful woman in the world, she suddenly becomes the biggest dog in the street,
And George Eaton said, "Isn't there a rule no stadium can hold more than the national stadium?"
No, that's a fallacy.
Well, I don't know if that would be. Yeah, Colin Fox. No way should the taxpayer pay their new stadium. Shout out to Colin. First time I'm seeing you. Welcome into the channel. Hit the like button, of course. But yeah, I mean that just makes no sense. I don't know. This is football. In England, football teams are owned by people, so the owners need to. If you want a bigger stadium, the owners need to pay for it. You got two owners, billionaires. They got two billionaires owning.
It's got to be the Ratcliffes and Glazers. If they can't afford it, then they can't afford it.
Yeah.
They just borrow, man. They just borrow.
Yeah.
But they borrow it, Man United will be even more in debt.
The thing is, though, wouldn't Radcliffe have to take on more shares to be able to make decisions like that? Because he's only at 25% at the moment. Surely you can't make a decision to just build a new stadium.
They have wonderful accountants,
Make it happen.
Not that wonderful. They're the only team from Manchester.
All they would do is put a financial plan forward. The lenders would go bust. The government would bail them out.
Well, their accountants aren't that great. They're the only team from Manchester that's been found guilty of FFP. So let's just leave it at that.
Also on some Man U news, Raphael Varane completed a free transfer to Como to be managed under Cesc Fabregas. He was supposed to come and be a big thing, but he didn't. Same Casemiro. I don't know what's going to happen with Casemiro, but that's up for debate. Now, did you guys see the friendly, obviously, with Arsenal? Andre Onana annoys the living life out of me, literally. I mean, he is annoying. I don't think he's a good goalkeeper. I mean, I think he's all right, but he's not like this thing that Ten Hag wanted people to believe. And as soon as he came on, he started making mistake after mistake after mistake. But I remember last preseason, he yelled at Harry Maguire. And Harry Maguire is the king of taking punches. He will not flinch one bit. He just takes punches from media, from everybody, from his own manager. And he got his captaincy taken away as well that preseason. And now, but also there were talks of why Andrew Onana just got here and he's yelling at the captain of Manchester United, right? Well, in this preseason, he's done the same thing, or trying to not yell, but he's trying to be a protagonist out there. There was a penalty shootout between Arsenal and Man City. And he was trying to get in the head of Gabriel Martinelli. That's what I don't like when the Aston Villa keeper does it as well. What's his name? Martinez. I think he's annoying as hell as well. I'm just giving my opinion. You guys are gonna say yours. But he apparently he was scolded by Gabriel not Martinelli but Gabriel. Is he Brazilian? Yeah, he is Brazilian. Yeah. And what do you guys think about Onana? Is he obviously I would like to have a Man U fan, but he was busy. Is he all that? How do you guys rate this guy, man? Because he annoys the crap out of me.
Well, he was obviously playing well enough for them to pay whatever it was, 70 million or whatever it was they paid for him.
He was at Inter Milan.
And since he came to the Premiership, he's been dogs.
But he's a goalkeeper, and he was brought in to play with his feet.
He's allegedly much better than De Gea.
Yeah, De Gea actually saved Man U in a lot of instances. I think Onana figured out his way a little bit. He was doing all right, but he's had these things where I think he thinks he's more than what he is. I don't know what you guys think. Henry, what do you think?
I was going to say, so literally talking about earlier, it's the most funniest thing because one of the first preseason games he shouts at Maguire. The next game he gets chipped from 40 yards. Yeah. And he gets memed because his head goes straight through the net. I'm like, you can't be shouting at your player for making a mistake and then you end up turning into a meme overnight. He's such a weird keeper because for me, the big majority of the reason why Man United finished in the bottom of the Champions League is because Onana just couldn't save anything. He was genuinely, for me, even though Man United fans are talking about the stats and stuff, for me, we're talking about on the eyes, he's been one of the worst keepers I've seen last season. It was genuinely awful. I know De Gea made mistakes, but, De Gea, when he was in his last season, he actually saved Man United countless times. Onana's not saved him in anything. I think, except the only one game I would say he saved him was, I think it was the 2-1 Aston Villa, where Man United won the last minute or something. That game, he just kept saving. But he's had one-off games where he will turn into prime Neuer, but most of the time, when I see him kick the ball, it's never to a player, it's always straight to throwing. He can't even, he's brought in to play with his feet, and he can't even
that was the thing.
Kick properly.
You can't compare Onana to a prime Neuer, though. Come on.
No, but you know what I mean. When we say prime Neuer, he can't get past.
He has moments where he looks like that's the reason why he was brought in.
That's one I can't say. But he's had that in one game.
Yeah.
The rest of them, it's like he's got a hole in his gloves.
The thing is, when you buy a goalkeeper for the reason of playing from the back and being good with their feet, you have to make sure that they're the right fit. Because, for example, if you look at Pep, when Pep came in, he wanted a goalkeeper that could play out from the back and play with his feet. We bought Claudio Bravo. He was awful. Yeah, he was good with his feet, but he couldn't save the ball at all. He was awful. So then we bought in Ederson. Now, fortunately, Ederson has turned out to be the player that we thought Claudio Bravo would have been. Excellent with his feet. And when you look at Onana, it's very much sort of, I see that the same as how I saw Bravo. You know, okay with his feet, but actually when it comes to making saves, not the best. So United, I think, have a decision that they need to make, whether they either stick with him and just compromise, or they look for a player who is better at saving more than they are good with their feet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, also about Man U, Hojlund and Yoro. Yoro just literally his first game, he gets hurt. This guy they paid, I think, 60 million for him, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere around that. He gets hurt. I don't know what happened with him or how long he's going to be out, but he's hurt, and I believe Hojlund is hurt. Rasmus Hojlund is going to be hurt as well. He is hurt. They both limped off the pitch, but certainly Yoro did look like he was in pain there. That's their luck, though. They get him and they get hurt. I mean, I guess we'll have to see. Bevo, I wanted to ask you this because this came up. Though Kelvin Phillips, mocked by fans. He's at West Ham, right?
Kelvin Phillips, he's back with us.
He's back. He's back with you. So he was mocked. He's been mocked by some of the fans. I mean, do you rate him? I mean, obviously, I have seen some YouTubers, some City YouTubers, do not rate him whatsoever.
With Kalvin Phillips, it was a player that we brought in. You know, a player that we thought he was going to be the player that he was when he won England's Player of the Tournament or Player of the Season or something. But I think the problem with Phillips, and I've said it since day one, I think the jump was too big. I think to go from a relegated Leeds to champions of the Prem in City, it's literally going from one end of the spectrum to the other. I think it should have been a bit more gradual. I think maybe if City would have bought him, maybe in that first season sent him out on loan to like a West Ham, or you know, a Palace or someone like that, someone sort of mid-table, and then potentially have made his way up to us. I think to go from relegated Leeds to Champions City in the space that he did, I think it was just too big of a jump for him. And then I think subsequently off the back of that, he's felt the pressures of that. And then when he's gone over to West Ham, he just never really recovered from it. It's a shame to see because I think there is a player in there. I just think he doesn't fit City. He's too slow.
Do you think, can you confirm with your innermost knowledge of City?
Yeah.
That apparently when he first went, he had some kind of to do with Pep because he was overweight or something. He reported for training and he was overweight or whatever.
Yeah. So that was in his first season. So it was after the World Cup. He'd come back from the World Cup overweight. And granted, I think a lot of people took that the wrong way. You know, when you're talking about players being overweight, you're thinking, oh, you know, they're 1 or 2 stone overweight. You know, you're talking like a couple of pounds. You know, it's, you know, there's very fine margins. But I think
so that resulted in him not starting that season.
Well,
City.
I think all of this happened before. So he'd come in, played some games, didn't really have much of an impact. Really slow on the ball. You know, City style of play is sort of pass and move quite quickly. He's as a player, he's quite slow. He works better playing as a second 6 rather than sort of a lone 6. You know, like when he played for England with Declan Rice, you know, that was the perfect match. You know, there was 2 6s and a 10 or an 8, however you want to call it. But I think just for us, he just didn't fit our style of play, and this was before the World Cup. And then he went away to the World Cup and then come back overweight. And I think from then that kept him out of the team so he could focus on fitness. And then sort of gradually, as you get towards the end of the season, you know, he had the biggest smile on his face towards the end of that season, where I think he come on for like 30 seconds. I think it was like the last 30 seconds of a game, and he just had like this biggest smile on his face ever. And he's one of these players that just looked grateful to be there. You know, he wasn't the kind of player that you sort of see and go, well, I need game time. You know, I want minutes. If I don't get minutes, I want to leave. I think he was just happy sort of being there for the vibes. And yeah, it's just unfortunately it's not worked out for him. And, you know, it's a shame.
Henry, you want him at Liverpool? He'll sell it to you, Bevo. He'll sell him to you.
Hey, you can have him on a free.
No.
You can have him on a free.
He did all that talking, and then he wants to give him up for a free.
I would take him on a free.
Of course, anybody would take him on free.
You'd have to pay me. You'd have to pay me for him us to take.
I think the problem with Phillips is it's his wages. So nobody wants to pay him because his wages at City. I think he's on like 150k a week.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
So to get him out of that contract is going to be quite difficult because he would have to take a sort of a wage reduction. So I think
we've got loads of players in that situation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look. Last but not least, Enzo Maresca's disaster against Celtic. Celtic is kryptonite for everybody out there in the preseason.
Hey, we weren't that bad.
No, not that bad. But
we had the full academy out, and
that's right. But Chelsea, man, what the hell is going on? Enzo Maresca. I tried to ask some Chelsea fans to come on. They didn't want to face the truth that they lost. Listen, you lose 4-1. You got to face up the consequences, man. It is what it is. Just preseason after all. So you can just say that. But they didn't want to come on. 4-1. I mean, you know, this is some new manager, so can't overreact. But yeah, that is an interesting loss against big Celtic, man. You know, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? It's going to be a struggle for Chelsea.
There's a lot of problems at Chelsea, and I think it goes deeper than the squad. I think it's right the way through the club. I think there's a real problem. Yeah, I think from top to bottom, there's a real problem at that club. I really, really do.
And when you've got the owner going into the dressing room and telling the manager who to pick, you've got to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Henry, do you fear Chelsea coming up, man, this season?
Yes and no. I still think they need a lot of stuff to improve in. I still think they need a striker. For me, no. I don't think they don't really scare me that much. I think the game against Celtic, you know, again, it's kind of how City played in terms of, you know, a lot of players are not there. It's pre-season. A lot of players just don't care. They're like, I'm just going to put 10% energy pre-season.
Well, we've got Chelsea in the final pre-season game of the season, and then
I do find it funny. You're playing them like back to back for some weird reason.
Yeah, so we've got Chelsea, then we've got United in the Community Shield, and then we've got Chelsea.
Are you playing them in England, or are you playing them abroad?
We're playing them in America in our final pre-season game.
Okay, well that's fair enough.
So
want to bring it to the American market.
You've got a replica of what happened to us last season. we played Villa in the tournament in America last game, and they were our first game in the Prem. So against Villa in America, Eddie, for the first time ever, played 3 at the back and a completely different formation up front, so that Unai Emery couldn't work out what he was going to do. And of course, we beat them 5-1 on the opening day of the season.
I'll take that.
Maresca stroke by Eddie Howe.
I'll take that. I hope we can get one over on them in the pre-season and start the Prem off in the right way.
As far as Chelsea's concerned, when Poch went to Chelsea last year, I took Chelsea to finish second because the players that they've got, and I thought getting Poch in there, you know, they're going to be fantastic. Ended up they weren't until, strangely, about the last 10 games, when they finally got their act together, won 9 out of 10 or something stupid like that, charged up the table, went past us and Man U, and then the sack Poch.
I was so confused. Like, I understood.
He's just got the puzzle put together and got it all working lovely, oiled and nicely running, and they sack him. I'm saying, what?
It makes zero sense to have so many injuries. He's trying to get the players in the right positions. As soon as all that happens, they get rid of him, and now everything has to be redone all over again. And it's the fact that it's a manager who literally nearly bottled the league with Leicester in the Championship, got them promoted, and hasn't proven enough for me to get a job.
He was the assistant of a treble-winning team. But...
but I'm saying it's a big push for going back to manager. Arteta's proven it, but you know, I don't know if he's Arteta or not. For example, I believe you're going straight into management. You got to do step by step. Because if you go too quickly, for example, this is why I think it's a good decision. When Klopp left, our assistant manager Pep Linders, he's gone to Salzburg. I think that's kind of like a good stepping stone. And not just go directly to Ajax or PSV. Yeah, you've got to start because Frank Lampard went Derby, Chelsea wasn't the right move at all.
And a bit like Arteta as well, you know. Arteta goes to Arsenal, and when he first went there,
everyone wanted him out.
Yeah, you got to give him time.
How we're talking of City losing to AC Milan and Celtic, how are Liverpool doing in their pre-season?
We've only played one game so far. We played Real Betis in the US, of course. For some reason, every single team's in the US right now. Because, of course, the US money-wise. We played Real Betis. We won 1-0. It was an interesting game. Of course, like lots of other teams, most of the players were not there.
You got beat by Kelvin Phillips or someone, didn't you?
No.
Preston North End or something like that.
Yeah, we did, but that was the behind closed doors. There's zero information on that game. I saw the highlights; it looked really good, but it was the typical Liverpool then finish. This game was an interesting one because we played tactics that Slot said he will not use in the league because he only used them in preseason because there's no Nunes. So we played 2 10s, and when we have the ball, we go into like a back 3, sort of. And it looked quite good. Szoboszlai scored the only goal. It was very, very, very promising game. There were some concerns. You know, Enzo didn't look too good. He looked really tired, and you know he's an older player. Jones got injured. But the good thing about that game is exactly what preseason's for. Is also looking at the youngsters. We've got a very young player called Trey Nwani, I think his name is, and he was man of the match. He came on and looked like a world beater.
Yeah. That young lad that you've got, the one that looks like Fellaini, he's not a bad striker, you know.
Yeah. He got I think a tiny injury in his back or something, and we're sending him out on loan. Jayden Danns.
Danns, that's the one.
Yeah. I was sad because he nearly. I know it was good that Van Dijk scored the winner against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup final because he's the captain, but Jayden Danns nearly did. But he's going on loan to Plymouth, I think. Danns.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna end it with this one. Did you guys know that? Of course, everybody's having their preseason. West Bromwich had a preseason friendly. Not so much. Not so friendly to say the least, because they were playing Mallorca. They were playing Mallorca, and it went. We had a little brouhaha. We had a little brouhaha, as we like to say on the commentary. There we go. Look at that. Bam! 1-2, 1-2, and they go right down to it. Oh man, that
3-piece.
Just man. But see, the other one started it, the Mallorca player, but this one, the West Bromwich guy was Jason Malumbi, who just gave him a 1-2, man. And my goodness, great. We'll talk about not taking the preseason lightly. Yeah.
Wow.
Man, that was interesting, man. Just 1-2, 1-2.
He's got to get banned for that.
Oh, he's gonna have to.
Thing is a friendly in Birmingham.
There's no such thing as a friendly in Albion. But anyways, folks, it's been a great show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Football Uncensored. We're gonna be back again next week, next Monday. Can't wait for the season to start, because we gotta just dig for information, dig for news here and there. But it'll be lovely to get the season back started. And well, that's not gonna be until August, so we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, thank you so much for your support. Go subscribe to City Baseball TV YouTube channel. Link will be in the description below. You can send me your link, brother.
I've got my first show starting this Wednesday, 7:30. Really, really looking forward to it. Got a great couple of guests on. And yeah, thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. If you haven't, please subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And thank you, everyone.
Hell yeah, man. City Baseball TV, and of course, subscribe to World of Football as well on YouTube, right, Henry? Yeah, what you got going on, mate?
Well, all the football's been on a pause. I've been so busy with the summer and stuff. But the idea of World of Football is to do, watch-alongs and TV-like style. So when I do all my watch-alongs, all my graphics, everything, they're all automatic, so I don't have to do anything. And it's just about having a good time and having all the statistics and lineup stuff. So I kind of do watch-alongs. And that's about it. And then some videos sometimes.
All right. Sounds good. I mean, World of Football and City Baseball TV. Of course, if you're a Newcastle United fan, subscribe to NUFC Talk TV. And if you're a Premier League fan, just subscribe to this one, Football Uncensored. Anyways, we'll be back next week. So see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.
Catch you later. How are we the